What is going on, investors? Back again. Time to talk about everybody's favorite stock and car maker, Tesla, ticker symbol TSLA. Really eventful week for the company and the market in general. We see that the stock was up on Friday about 2.78%, but in the after hours, unfortunately, Tesla was rejected from the S&P 500, which I think was priced into the stock a little bit because you can see that in the after hours, this stock has sold off about $30 per share, or about 7% in the after hours, on the news that S&P 500 is not, I repeat, not going to include Tesla into its index, at least for the time being. Now, so what we're going to do today is take a look at a little bit of the news that Tesla made during the week. We'll take a look at some of the fundamental valuation, and then finally we'll jump into the stock chart to see if we need to buy, sell, or hold Tesla at the current moment, given how much news it is making. Now, you might wonder, is my opinion worth anything? And maybe past performance doesn't mean a whole lot, but look, here's a 2-year chart of my retirement portfolio. You can only deposit about $6,000 per year into this account. And as you can see, over the last 2 years, this portfolio has returned 71%, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average is at 7.29%, the S&P 500 is at 16.66%, and the NASDAQ is at 37%. So take advice from whoever you would like to take advice from, but according to this portfolio, I am outperforming the market tremendously. Now, moving on to Tesla, I'm going to walk you through exactly how I analyze companies for my retirement portfolio. First, we get a general sense of the news. Like I said, the stock had priced in that they were going to get inputted into the S&P 500 index, which would trigger a lot of index funds having to force a purchase of Tesla. And given how much market cap the company has, they would probably have to actually do significant purchases. So this was priced into the stock a little bit. I think it probably would have had a nice little run up if they were included, but some of that performance was already priced into the stock. Unfortunately for Tesla and for its current shareholders, they're going to have to wait until the S&P 500 rebalances again. I'm sure they'll likely make it in here in the next 12 months. Now, the other thing that they did that probably went under the radar with most people is they actually raised $5 billion, which is about 1% of the market cap at the time. Now, this graph actually shows you every time that Tesla has raised money via a share offering, and in the past, the stock just, didn't do a whole lot, but they raised money here and the stock has rallied up, and now they're raising money here towards a top. I actually think that was a very good move for Tesla. While it dilutes you if you're currently investing in Tesla, it does shore up the balance sheet, should give them a nice financial runway heading into the next couple years. Now, let's take a look at, from a valuation perspective, I always want to take a look at this. Now, I know it's difficult to compare Tesla to any other car maker, and I actually would encourage you not to do that. Just ignore the people that want to compare this to a GM or to a Ford or to a Toyota or a VW. Throw that all out the window. What you really should do is just compare Tesla to itself. It has always been a high-flying stock, a stock that people have been willing to pay up for. We'll compare it to itself in that case. And we see here, this is a price to sales, which I think is probably the easiest way to judge Tesla, considering they've always had sales. They haven't always had earnings or gap earnings, but from a sales perspective, we can always judge how the market has valued this company. And a lot of the time, for a very long period of time, this company was valued at about 5 times sales. It took a dip in 2019 and into 2020, peaked back up over 5 times sales, and now we see we've rocketed all the way up. At the peak, we were at 17, almost 18 times sales, which is almost 4 times where it typically was selling for. We've come back down to earth a little bit down here to about 14 times sales. Again, that is about 3 times the historical 5-year average for Tesla. So I believe from a price to sales basis, this stock is still overvalued. Now, from a price to cash flow perspective, this is another way I think you can analyze Tesla, is because they always have some kind of cash flow. And we see in the past, we've got a 1-year chart here, that this stock for a while was trading right in that 50 times cash flows. And again, the valuation has just absolutely skyrocketed, peaking up at over a 171 times cash flow. Now we're currently sitting at about 144 times cash flow. Again, I believe this stock from a cash flow valuation is also overvalued. Now, from a price to earnings perspective, a little bit more difficult to compare Tesla on a price to earnings basis because they haven't always had GAAP earnings or earnings in general. And we see that this stock basically traded at a negative price to earnings ratio, and it dipped way down in 2020, but they started actually making some money, and so you could actually judge it on a GAAP basis here. And we see that the valuation peaked out at about 1,200, almost 1,300 times forward, trailing 12 months earnings. We're currently sitting at over 1,000 times earnings. So obviously Tesla is either going to really need to grow into this evaluation, which they likely will, but at 1,000 times PE, they would really have to grow, and you would really hope that the stock would also continue to rise over that period of time. And it's very difficult, in my opinion, for companies like this to have this rich of a valuation and eventually grow into it at the same time the shares appreciating. It's going to be a little bit difficult. Now, moving into the stock chart, I have lots of people saying, well, technical analysis doesn't mean anything. Technical analysis is voodoo. Look, that's not for me to decide. It's actually not for you to decide. I will tell you that technical analysis matters to the trading algorithms that do most of the trading on the stock market. It matters to the big hedge fund guys, matters to a bunch of the big money players in the market. So it is something, while I don't think you necessarily need to perfect and need to know all these candle formations and the name of them and what they mean or what they might predict, you do need to have some general understanding about what's going on in the market. So we've got a daily view of Tesla here. We obviously see this big rally up here. Looks like to me we might have made a top up here. This stock is sold off nicely. We see here the candle ended the day right on this moving average support, and that's typically, I wouldn't say that's a bullish sign or a bearish sign. It's just kind of hanging out. But in fact, in the after hours, I put this line in here. We're actually now underneath this line. This purple line's going to be a magnet for price. It'll be a magnet for price, kind of keeping the stock close to this. And as we saw on today's trading, this candle actually came all the way down here to the 368, 370 range. So this stock sold off quite a bit and then came right back up to this trend line. It is going to want to be a magnet for price. But as we can see, the price action in the stock for a long period of time was hugging these moving average, and now we're way out and extended in it. So I expect this stock to come back down, start hugging these moving averages at some point here in the near future. If these moving averages turn negative, it will hug it on the way down. We see the MACD has crossed over into the red. The RSI was way overextended. It's now down here. It's not quite as overbought as it once was, and it is trending back up though, as we made a nice little green candle on today's regular trading action. But again, in the after hours, we're sold off. We're actually right here. Now, keep in mind, it is a 3-day weekend, and I don't know any professional trader that is trading on a Friday night in a 3-day weekend. They're out in their boat. They're on the Hamptons. They're taking the kids out, doing something. Even in the situation we're in, they're doing doing something. They're not sitting behind their computer screen doing trades. So I wouldn't take too much stock into where this stock is trading in the after hours. What I would acknowledge though is this MACD has rolled over. It's turned negative. We've got a negative red bar here, and we see a topping pattern here. We're in a short-term downtrend with this stock. Now it can break trend at any time and start going back up, and that's possibly what Tesla does. Now, as I showed you, my portfolio is up tremendously over the last few years because I am not quick to jump into these names. The first level where I personally would look to trade Tesla is way below, okay? I don't like buying stocks way above their trend line. I try to buy them way below. And down here at 336 would be the first level where I would entertain buying Tesla. In fact, it didn't come too far away from trading there today. I actually was getting ready. I thought maybe, wow, it might just have this big candle all the way down here. Apple actually got really close to a trading buy that I would have put in. Tesla, not quite yet. Now, below that range, let's say the stock trades even below, I see a level down here at 285. That would be an interesting level as well. Now, that's just the daily chart. From a weekly perspective, the stock is showing me a similar thing. The MACD hasn't rolled over, but it looks like it's trying to make a peak here. And the RSI is way overbought again still, and it has turned negative. Now, it can turn negative and go positive again, as we can see here. But if this starts to roll over, the MACD starts to roll over, and look how way extended we are over both of our trend lines here. When the stock, take a look at what happened here. The stock was way over its trend line. What happened? It sold off really rapidly. When it's hugging this trend line, you're a little bit safer position. Same here. We were way over the trend line. The stock actually traded back down towards the trend line. I anticipate the same thing. We're actually right up here. I anticipate this stock coming down actually right into this 338.39 level. I think that would be an interesting level to start a position in Tesla. Now, finally, from a monthly perspective, paints exactly the same picture. Our MACD appears like it wants to top out here and start rolling over. Our RSI is already rolling over, and it's still way overbought on this. And look how far and above we are over these trend lines. I mean, we are sky high. This is like Michael Jordan in the 90s doing a dunk on somebody. This is way up above the rim. Again, I would much rather watch this stock pull down. From a monthly perspective, you're actually looking for this stock to pull way back before you take a bite of this apple. But I think the daily view gives us the best perspective of what's going on with Tesla. Again, we're way over our trend lines. What ends up happening is the stock will want to kind of base, maybe trade sideways, trade down before it makes another move higher. I see a topping pattern here. I would anticipate this stock going lower in the near future, which is something that I would be excited about as an investor, because unless you've just gotten in the last couple of weeks in Tesla, why would you want it to remain full price? You know, you want to actually have it come down and have it get on sale. It'd be like, you know, would you rather pay full price for a Model S, or would you rather get one 50% off? I think everybody knows the answer to that question, and I look at stocks the same way. Why would I want to pay full price for the stock when I could potentially get it 20 to 30 to 40% off? And I think there's a potential for that with Tesla. Now, we are down 20% from our highs. That is in correction territory. That will trigger some buying in Tesla, but I think considering everything that we have going on in the market, this one has the possibility to go even lower, and that's where I would look to accumulate shares down here for a margin of safety. So there you go. That was Tesla. We'll see what happens. It's a long weekend. I wouldn't put too much stock in where this stock is trading in the after hours. That's probably on very thin volume. When we open the market on Tuesday, I think we get a better sense of the direction this stock wants to take in the near future. There we go. For now, I would hold Tesla. I would definitely not be buying Tesla. If you want to sell short Tesla, go right ahead. I don't have the stomach to do that. And quite frankly, the margin account to trade through any of these types of rises that you typically see with Tesla. I'm looking to go long the stock, but I am looking for it to pull back into a level where I think the valuation makes sense, the chart makes sense, and everything will make sense from that perspective. So there we go. That's Tesla. We'll see what happens. Leave me a comment down below what you think. Good luck with your investments.